Pierre Poilievre mops up the floor with Justin Trudeau's hair as he holds a new press conference laying out what he intends to do to axe the tax and bring it home. Let's get into it.
Oh, yeah!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. I hope you guys had a great weekend. One guy who had a great weekend was Pierre Poilievre, as he held a rally over the weekend to discuss what his intentions are to put pressure on the Liberal government. Now, if you watch the channel regularly, and you were here last week, I had Conservative MP Stephanie Kusi joining us here on the channel to talk about the Arrive scam debacle and just how serious these allegations are and what we could expect to see in terms of some form of repercussions or justice when it comes to how our ministers have behaved and how companies like GC Strategy has behaved. And honestly, her answer was, well, fallen on a little bit of deaf ears, because it was definitely less than I expected. And I do understand that while those MPs come on the channel, there is a certain rhetoric that they must portray. There are only certain things they're allowed to discuss in full. I'm sure there were plenty of things Stephanie wanted to elaborate on, but because, again, they work as a unit in a party, she could not. So keep your eyes peeled in the future, ladies and gentlemen, as I do plan to have Garnet Genius, I almost said genius, Garnet Genius, Larry Brock, and Michael Barrett here on the channel to elaborate a little bit as to what is going on, and we'll put a little bit more pressure on those gentlemen to see exactly where we're headed in the future as things develop. Because keep in mind, this is an ongoing inquiry. So, of course, there's only so many things, again, that can be discussed, put out in the open, talked about, and now we're starting to see Pierre Poilievre coming out and talking about his intentions with Justin Trudeau and where we're headed in the future. Not just with Arrive scam, but where we're going to go come April 1st when the carbon tax gets hiked. Now, Pierre Poilievre, of course, people say he talks a good game, he walks a good game, but is he going to deliver when it comes time for him to be prime minister? Now, for somebody like myself, I think that Pierre's going to take my vote. I think that I have no issues saying that I don't believe that he's a sinister human being or that he's in this position for the wrong reasons. Time will tell. And again, I've said on this channel numerous times, should Pierre drop the ball, I'm not afraid to hold his feet to the fire and call it out where it is. I'm certainly not going to fanboy over top of Pierre Poilievre becoming the next Prime Minister of Canada, because after all, you can't please people 100% of the time, and the person who tries to is a fool. So we all know that good things are going to come, bad things are going to come. But one thing I can say is over the weekend, Pierre laying out his intentions with Justin Trudeau. I want to play you a little bit of an excerpt from his rally, because he nails it on the head where we're headed. So I'm going to play this. And then we're going to discuss, folks.
Axe the tax. Yeah, Trudeau said, don't worry, this carbon tax will make you better off. He gave you a big hug in front of the cameras. It was a big warm hug, but not warm enough to heat the home in the winter in Canada. No, you actually need natural gas to do that in most places. And the tax on that gas is going to be going up by almost a full quarter, 23%, which will mean hundreds of dollars more in costs for families like Kathy. Now remember, he told us that he would give you all the money back and more. That it would be, it's like that. It was like that uncle who sends you an email from a faraway country claiming that you don't know who he is, but he's going to pass away soon and he wants to bequeath you $1 million. You just need to give him your credit card and password and he'll deposit into your account, right? One of these scams. That's the Trudeau tax scam. So I brought some bills here today to shed light on the Trudeau scam. Because here are the facts about the Trudeau tax. Here are the facts. Axe the tax. Here, let me look at the data for Ontario. Trudeau's plan is to more than quadruple the carbon tax, up to 61 cents a litre, and at a proportional hike on your home heating and on everything shipped to you. According to the parliamentary budget officer, when this tax and the second carbon tax combine to take full effect, as they will over the next 5 years, should God forbid he be re-elected, the total cost to an average family in Ontario will be $4,078 in carbon taxes. Almost 3 times what the rebate is promised to be, and that assumes he keeps his promises about these phony rebates. So we know that everybody is going to be much worse off as a result of the carbon tax. Let's go through the many ways this is the case. First of all, there's the direct cost. For the single mom who's trying to take her kids to sports and to school in the morning, who has to drive herself to work, she has no choice. There isn't an electrified train to take her. She can't ride her bicycle 40 kilometers every single day to get to the restaurant where she serves her customers. She will be paying higher direct costs. But then there are the indirect costs. See, Trudeau said, oh, on the face of it, you're all better off, forgetting that when you attack the cost of energy, everything else goes up with a cascading increase. Let's move on to the cost of food. So I have here, this is actually an Enbridge bill from constituents of mine. They're the Madero's mushroom farmers. They produce most of the mushrooms in Eastern Ontario. Their carbon tax bill for 1 month was $21,620. 1 month.
That is insane. Now, we've heard Pierre Poilievre talk about the mushroom farm in the House of Commons, but what he's essentially showing you here is that come April 1st, if you think things are already unaffordable, boy, are they about to get nasty. And people right now, especially people who are re-signing mortgages, who are trying to figure out how they're going to make ends meet, and then all of a sudden this 3 times the carbon tax. Again, that we've covered articles on the channel where they've said that the average Canadian can't even afford a $50 emergency repair or issue to come up in their home. That $50, they're $50 away from being broke every time they're paid from their jobs. Now, factor that in with a triple carbon tax, and we're all in trouble. But Pierre comes back again during this press conference with a complete mic drop of what he intends to do.
We are going to heighten the power and the pressure on the Liberal MPs. Now, many of you will say, oh, that'll never make a difference. Well, if you think that you're too small to be effective, you've never been in a tent with a mosquito. The reality is we have forced these guys to back down before. Remember, Justin Trudeau wanted to apply his massive tax increase on home heating oil right across the country. So we launched a campaign just like this in Atlantic Canada to keep the heat on and take the tax off. Atlantic Canadians rose up, they made noise, and their MPs heard the message loud and clear that they were not prepared to pay the bills. So these MPs started calling Justin Trudeau, begging him to cancel his plans to apply the tax on home heating bills. And on one Friday, when Justin Trudeau was relaxing in his office, all of a sudden his secretary said, Mr. Prime Minister, there's a whole gang of Atlantic Canadian Liberal MPs banging on your door. They're demanding that you announce here and now that you're going to give their constituents a break on the carbon tax. He said, close the door, don't let them in, for God's sakes. So they tried that, but they kept pounding away, and Justin started to get nervous. He was rolled up in a little ball in the fetal position on the ground, sucking on his thumb. And finally, they kicked down the door, they grabbed him, they dragged him out to a press conference where an unannounced, unscheduled press conference, where he said that he would pause the tax for some people in some regions where his caucus was revolting and his poll numbers were plummeting. Well, we want to see his caucus revolting everywhere and his poll numbers plummeting everywhere so that he will spike the hike until we can axe the tax.
Talking about Justin Trudeau in the fetal position crying is just an absolute mic drop. And again, Pierre, this is what charisma looks like. People kept saying Justin Trudeau back in 2015, oh, he's so charismatic. He knows how to talk to people. There's nothing he can't do. Well, you want to talk the definition of charisma, ladies and gentlemen. There it is right there. Pierre has the best plans, but of course, what he's talking about is getting in touch with your MPs. He's talking about getting loud, as he said. Now, I've said for a long time, while people complain that their vote means nothing, this is where you need to get on the phone and call your constituents' offices. You need to call the offices of people who aren't your constituents, even if, they're part of parties that you don't want to see these plans go through on. I've said time and time again, flood these MPs' offices with emails, with phone calls, with letters. Don't forget, those are free letters to send through Canada Post. Let people know how you feel. Just do it in a civilized manner. I don't agree with threats of violence or threats of any kind of physical nature going against those who are in government office, whether I like them or hate them. That is never the answer. And of course, it always results in the other group of people looking bad. So send your phone calls, send your emails, tell them how fed up you are, tell them how you can't afford anything, and keep the pressure on. Because what these people have to realize is that as soon as Justin Trudeau leaves office, their jobs are all threatened. They're going to lose their seats. I've said this time and time again. Jagmeet Singh can prop up the Liberals for as long as he wants to, but at the end of the day, once he's gone and has his pension, he doesn't care how many NDPs sink with the ship. He doesn't care how many people's pensions he ruins. So they're going to have to fight and vie for their seats. And if we put the pressure on, we're going to start seeing some form of a result if they're scared enough to push the party leaders to say, this is a big mistake. This is something that's going to affect our jobs in the future. There's power in numbers, ladies and gentlemen, and I believe Pierre is accurate on this. I think he's right. And I'd be saying this even if we had a conservative government, that you got to keep them on their toes and you got to call. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Do you think Pierre is on track to decimating the Liberals, becoming the next... I mean, we all know he's going to be the next Prime Minister of Canada, but do you think we're going to see a minority or a majority? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Just a friendly reminder that videos like these get completely censored by Justin Trudeau on YouTube, so make sure to put in a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. It helps put us out in the algorithm so that people who don't watch this channel say, hey, I like that. I'm going to go check it out. There's a lot of people watching it. It helps all the way, and it costs you absolutely nothing. Don't forget to join us every Friday here on the channel at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 8 p.m. Central for Friday Night Fringe, my weekly live stream, where we go over everything that's happened this week, everything coming up in the week ahead, and a little bit of back and forth with the community. It's always great to chat with you guys outside of making videos, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.